one step closer to a pizza party.
Our
Here's
best
something like
pitcher
that.
is just an idiot.
Okay, that'll
Keeps missing school.
Yeah, that on your
Rules.
rules.
So,
Told the guy what that did once.
but
He had
you
he had a rug.
go ahead.
Put it on
You got your hair, you got more than that.
So it's going to be rain tomorrow.
What a surprise.
Definitely rain.
So maybe you should pick me up instead of me walking down the road, you meeting me in the road.
And we will text.
I'm going to California on Wednesday. We got some certificates.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love cheers.
5:59.
Oh, that is.
What's a quarter? We need, how many do
We
you
have
think?
three.
Three? Oh.
No. Four.
Okay.
That's what's next.
You're crazy at that.
We have. That's not Gus's season. I didn't hear from Mark.
I haven't heard anything from her.
I know he was away, but he's definitely back. Yes, that's all. Well, it is 6 o'clock.
Have we started already or not?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I voted, I started as soon as I got
Easter.
here.
Well, I'm glad.
There's a quorum. There's a quorum, when the quorum forms, I turn the
As
camera.
soon as there's three of us. You need a red light.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see. All right, well, I guess we could start. Call the meeting to order. Town of Brookfield Planning Board. Today is June 9th, 2025. Call the meeting to order. First order of business before I do roll call is that Gus Stratton has resigned from the board. We have a letter on that. So the rest of the board, I'll do the roll call. Ed Ingles, I'm here. Marshall Goldberg.
Here.
Stephen Berry.
Here,
Leah Gage.
Yeah.
Mark Lofgren, I don't have, I don't know his status. And then Rich Zacher.
here.
Okay, so we have a quorum. We don't have any alternates. And announcements, correspondence, mail, anything of note, Leah?
I gave you the one letter that you already announced.
Yep. Okay. Approval of minutes. And I think this, is this the old one? Did I give you a new? I gave you a new one. Yeah. Would you mind?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on one second.
Sorry.
We have improper cover page of your agenda here.
Oh.
We'll have, well, I guess I can, Leah knows this, so I can just talk about the, to fill a vacancy for Gus, the planning board can appoint somebody. And there was a fellow by the name of Jim Lowry that ran for planning board, and I think, I don't know how many votes he got 58 votes, so,
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't like he had 2 votes, it wasn't
right.
involved. He sounds like he's interested, so I'm gonna talk with him,
Okay.
and we could potentially have him in and
Oh, that's great.
appoint him if we want to.
Sure.
So I got his number from Karen, who he knows, I guess.
And if there's anyone interested, anyone else?
Yeah, anybody else, for sure, yeah, definitely.
Speak up.
And the way that works is we would, assuming we would want him to be a member, we could appoint him, and he would go till March of 26, and then Gus's remaining term goes through March of 27, so there would be a spot on the ballot that would open up March of 26 for 1 year. So that person isn't necessarily like automatic for Gus's term.
Those are printing.
Okay. Well, the next item on the agenda anyway is approval of minutes from our May 12th meeting.
I was going to say, I read it.
Yeah, we said that was around.
I read,
Yeah, so.
Any changes or anything anybody has? You didn't have changes, Leah, because you wrote them.
Hey there. Oh, okay. I don't know. Hold on. Mark is on the phone. Can he join?
He can, we just have to have him, we have to do a roll call for votes, that's all. Yeah. You want to just put him up here on speaker?
Sure. Here you go.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Ed, can you pick him up okay from there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the new agenda. Approval of minutes for May 12th, we were just discussing. I don't know if, Mark, if you had a chance to look at them or if you had any changes.
To the minutes?
You weren't there, so.
Yeah, the minutes, I didn't have any questions about the
No
minutes.
questions. Okay, so entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make that motion to accept it.
Second?
All in favor of accepting the minutes from May 12th?
I
Aye.
And I think we have to do a roll call. Ed Ingles, yes. Marshall,
Here.
you're gonna vote yes or no? Yeah, your name? For the minutes.
Yes. Hey, yes.
Stephen Berry.
Yes.
Leah,
yes.
Mark,
Yeah, yes.
and Rich.
Yes.
All right, motion carries, the minutes are approved. We don't have any public comments unless, Ed, you have any comments? No, no comments. New business, and I'm not real prepared to talk about warrant articles at this point, but I just wanted to get people thinking about what some of our warrant articles might be, coming up. We really have to deal with them in probably late December, like the December meeting, maybe the November meeting, we should have an idea. One thing,
If not earlier, then.
yeah, to get them going. So one thing we did talk about was signs. So we probably should have some kind of warrant article, or just some thoughts around what we might want to put in there for signs.
And home business, whatever.
Well, we have home business, but when we made a change a couple of years ago, we lost our sign paragraph.
Oh, but I thought you had mentioned something about home businesses
Oh, yeah, did you
and
need?
creating an ordinance that, unless it gets large, I don't know
Well,
what.
we have. don't
No, I know. I thought you brought up something about home businesses that you were
Didn't you
concerned
want to
about.
put in some sort of specific language about the permit we just created?
No?
Okay.
So the selectmen handle home business occupations.
Right.
So there's not a zoning, there is a zoning paragraph on it, but it says the selectmen handle it. It's not a planning board issue unless we want to change the language.
For home-based business.
Yeah.
Yes, if you need a permit, because there's some outside visibility to the business, then you come to the selectmen and we have a form you fill in. If it's, I think our zoning says if it's completely contained, we don't even want to know about it.
Right. And less than 4 employees and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some qualifiers, and I can look at it real quick.
But the issue is the sign, right?
Yes.
Someone questioned the selectmen about how big of a sign can I put up, and we couldn't find it in the zoning anymore, it disappeared. Lee went back and looked. and
The
he
last
came out-
time it was there was 2023.
So hopefully my wife's sign would be grandfathered in, because it's been there since 2020. No, actually,
Right now, there are no
There's no
requirements on
restrictions.
sign.
So if you want to make it bigger, do it now.
Like I said,
no,
Now's the time, there's no requirement.
I just don't want to take it down.
So there's home occupation, and there's some stuff about outside storage or display, traffic, parking, noise, etc. Creates a hazard. Any activity that exceeds these standards must obtain an operating permit, and that is from the selectmen, although that's not clear from the zoning. And then home business,
So should we make it?
well, we could, well, actually, it says in the preamble, I guess, up here. Home business may be allowed as an operating permit by selectmen, so it is up there.
Ah,
And then home business it requires an operating permit if it exceeds those standards. And that has to be no more than 4 people, as you mentioned. Clearly secondary use of the premises, dwelling being the first purpose. No external evidence of the activity, no outdoor display or storage of materials. And if there's anything else, it can be specifically approved by the selectmen. So, operating permit comes from the selectmen.
That one's pretty good. Makes sense to me.
Okay, but there is nothing about signs, so we need to potentially add.
Did you have
paragraph seven.
something else you had mentioned, I thought?
There was
Like
something.
in the previous, like in, it might have been a couple months ago,
Yeah.
but there was something else.
So there's a preliminary consultation that if somebody is sending an application in,
Yep.
we can, and I don't know the RSA, I can find it, but as a planning board, we can write a warrant that requires a preliminary consultation before there's a subdivision application or a site plan review application. And we don't have that now. We can encourage it, and we can just say it's voluntary and you don't have to do it, but it's probably easier if you do it, but we can create a warrant article that would require that to happen. So we can talk about that. We don't need to decide today.
Right. So that's another one, okay.
Those are the only two I think that I have right now.
Because I think we always wait till the end.
Yeah.
And then the attorney is very busy, and there's no reason, is there?
No, there's no reason.
So if we know this sign thing, we all agree we want
Yep.
to do something about that, then why don't we put that high on the agenda and just do it and get it, get ahead of it, right?
Do you want me to pull the previous language
Oh, if you have it.
so we can see what it
Yeah, we
says
should do
and
that.
go from there?
And we can look at another town or two, maybe. So I think that's that. Although, obviously, if there's a resident petition, that could come in at the 11th hour, so.
Right.
But that's not our language anyway, we just put it out there. Okay. Leah, you invited the representatives, our state rep and our executive counselor
Yes,
to next meeting,
to August.
August meeting.
We've only had Steve Markey, I think that's his name, respond so far. He said he'll be here.
Okay, well, at least we have one.
Yeah, so before that meeting, I'll post it so that if people want to come and talk to him and listen or whatever, they can.
What do we expect to hear, or what's that agenda look like?
To discuss the legislation they've been dishing out at the State House,
As it relates to all issues.
planning and zoning.
But that wraps up this week.
I know. Well,
Okay.
They can explain it to us
That'd be
afterwards.
fine. What the
the
rationale
thinking
was.
behind, yeah.
Yeah. And what, if anything, we can do about it or not? Cutting the zoning down for housing, more affordable properties, et cetera, is one of them.
Did that pass? Or it's Thursday they're voting?
I don't think it passed.
Oh, you don't think
We
it?
got a summary today of all the remaining articles, and that was not on it.
That wasn't there. Okay.
So I don't know if it passed. If it passed, I'm sure we would have heard, because it was important.
Yeah.
What was the bill number, do you know?
Leah, do you know?
Remember the bill?
No.
There was a whole host on zoning, 1 acre zoning.
I'll look.
It depended on whether you had septic or not, and that kind of thing too. If you're in town sewer, it was different. But yeah, I think that's the big one. It's just that any state rules that would come in front of any zoning we would do.
A lot of times they appreciate it if there's a topic you want them to talk about, you let them know,
Mhm.
and they can do some homework, as opposed to saying, oh gee.
Yeah, maybe when you confirm, we could just say, we'd be really interested in some of the state initiatives to broaden housing ownership and how they might affect a small rural town that has 5 acre zoning.
As an example.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some manufactured housing legislation going through. I don't know how that Because we have the 4-foot foundation thing,
Yes.
which I guess you can do on manufactured housing.
Oh, yeah, there's a
It's
lot
gonna
of
make it
manufactured
25,000 more expensive, or whatever the number is.
Manufactured housing there's a lot of homes that are manufactured, they're gonna, Forest Acres could be the end of the colonial.
Yeah,
That's all considered manufactured housing.
yeah.
I know of a potential one that's gonna go up, just up here, because he's selling his place over on the lake, for $1.7 million.
Is that where the boat ramp's going, or?
No, it's over on Balch.
Ah,
Okay, so I think that's kind of the gist of what we wanted to get those guys to talk about, I guess. Anything else on that?
So when is that?
August meeting,
August.
2 meetings from now.
August 12th.
August 12th.
Rules of procedure edits.
I made no progress.
That's okay. That's okay. We're working on it. It's a goal for the year, and hopefully will happen before the end of the year.
Well, wasn't that what we, are you talking about what you sent out to read for this meeting?
No.
No.
Oh, that's something else.
Yeah.
So rules of procedure,
Is rules of procedure.
we've done the edits up to the documents that are the appendices, and that's what we still have to work on, right?
I see.
That's
Oh,
not
so-
the main
okay,
edits
that's what
we
you're talking
talked
about.
about at the last meeting.
Gotcha.
And I think unlike the master plan where you can update it in increments, that should probably be
Just
done as a whole, and here it is.
Right. Oh, so then this is like a appendix, maybe? Is that what this is all about?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, now I got
Anything on SolSmart? Anything new?
you. Yeah.
If
So
you look in your packets,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah?
it is in the packet.
there's a couple things in there. But for Soul Smart recommended changes to our solar ordinance.
So,
Is this the highlighted stuff, kind of? Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, to sum up, just so you know where we're at, is we went on this journey because I thought, since solar was a big topic and we had just done an ordinance, that SoulSmart, through the SBAC, et cetera, offered this program where you could get free advice, basically. Anything relating to, building a solar field, to doing your own house, to whatever you. So I thought, geez, they'll look at your ordinance that you have and give you feedback on it, which I thought would be great, free advice in our case. And so they have a whole program and you can win medals, but I'm not interested in all of that. So all I wanted to focus on was, A, look at our ordinance and see what you think. So that's the sum and substance of that. So read that at your leisure. We can maybe talk about it and whether we want to change anything or we don't.
So
And
this
then-
page specifically is what they didn't like about our ordinance. It's not.
This one here.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
It's after this, it's between the two staple things in the packet.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we should read this and be prepared to talk about it.
Yeah, and we can do something, not do something.
Maybe it creates another word
Right.
to adjust our language.
And just FYI, I did talk with Jeff, our code enforcement officer, because I said, one of these exercises is to create a checklist for installation. And I didn't want to be, or any of us who are not experts in that, I thought he was the best resource that we have, and invited him to listen to a few of these training sessions that SoulSmart puts on for free, a Zoom call. So he did hang in there for one of them, which was on the checklist, and basically said, look, this is what I do, this is my process. He sent me an email on it, very straightforward. You know, there's a foundation, and we use the same building code when we were building a house. The electric, we gotta definitely get the right electrician who's, you know, a tradesman, et cetera, insurance, does the right stuff, and hold them to that as it relates to that. And that seemed to me, and they did a pretty good process, so no reason to make things more complex. So, once we decide to do whatever, then we're done with SoSmart. And if anybody has any questions technically about any stuff as it relates to solar, whether you personally want to know some stuff or whatever, feel free, and I'll get you in touch with Christina who runs the program, and she'll help you.
So this the list of changes that were
That's just their opinion.
to make solar easier to install in this town, or what was their, I mean, the-
I think what I gave them is the mission, and I think this is just part of their program, is if you have an ordinance, we can evaluate that and look at that and review it. So I haven't followed back up with her, Katrina, who's our coach, I think. There's a designated coach. So after I read through that, get your comments on it, or questions, and you can send them to me anytime, then I can call her and just get answers.
So here's an example. They say, well, our code limits the amount of electricity that a system can produce. And they say, it's basically, that's not a best practice. So, do we do anything about that or not? I guess is the question.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is to just kind of
yeah, okay.
get deeper into it.
And, I don't know if do they have like an axe to grind about wanting more solar in the state, or?
Oh, no, look, they have 35 communities out of 200 signed up to sell the grid and do the
Yeah.
whole thing, right? So, but any application, these people, they're just there to help you.
Yep.
And they have.
But all else equal,
agenda.
they would want more solar panels than less. Most
I think it's just as important to educate than it is to sell something.
yeah, and they're not
It's-
selling.
And they're not selling anything.
They just want to make sure the process is streamlined.
Yep.
Well, and if you
And
have
consistent.
solar, or you want a solar farm, I mean, the investment eventually will pay off, right? But it's more for the environment, I think, than it is for, necessarily, I'm gonna say X. There's certainly savings in there. It's probably 10 to 15% of whatever it is you're doing, regardless. And, that's sizable if you run a plant or something, but for your house.
Suggesting to use the right verbiage
Yeah,
as we're putting stuff together.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So they do point out that our code doesn't have any requirements for solar farms. So
No.
there's not many places you can put one, but
Well, I guess you could, if you wanted to, if you wanted to, you could.
and we have limits on production of electricity, so basically.
Why is that?
I think it grew out with, what we used came from Durham, and I think the original intent was that we didn't want to see a whole bunch of solar farms in Brookfield.
It does limit the size of it.
Yeah.
That was the intent.
Right.
It makes it residential.
Yeah, you can use it for your house, and if you have a garage, a shop and all that, you can use it with 2 electric cars, fine. But if you're putting back way more than what you would use, I think the intent is to just limit that.
We've got a couple of fields out there that, are hay fields, and they can easily fill it from there, rather than a hay field. So we'd have to be cautious.
All right, so let's everybody just have a look at this, and
Absolutely.
we'll pick that up next meeting.
Hey, can I ask you a question? So Marshall, did they give us comments on our?
Yes, and if you want, I can bring a package and put it in your mailbox tonight.
Okay, maybe you emailed it, I'm not sure I knew what I was looking at.
Where are you, by the way?
We're in Herndon, Virginia.
Oh, that's right, babysitting.
Yes.
Babysitting for the grandkids, that's awesome.
Yes, yeah.
Good for
So
you.
Kate's on solo duty right now.
Well, sending you, putting it in your mailbox adds no value, so Leo will send it to you again.
Well, I will be home again.
At some point.
Don't you worry, I can only take so much of babysitting as much as I love. The other question, didn't last year or in the last couple of years, and obviously I wasn't on the planning board, but I know there were some maybe neighbor disputes about how solar was being put on their neighbor's property. Is there anything that last planning board or board of selectmen had thought we should do to avoid clear that up, or is that sort of old news?
Bushes have been planted to shield it from the road. I think I know the one that you're talking about.
Yeah, the zoning ordinance has some shielding requirements,
Yeah.
which is actually one of the things that Soul Smart criticized. Whatever it is.
And we have setbacks, you know, we put it out back if possible. And if you can't fit it out back, you gotta go to the ZBA, that's what happened with the last one.
It was 150 feet, wasn't it?
Yes, but the ZBA granted one on Governor's Road in the front yard. Because they talked it over with the neighbors said, okay, fits in the neighborhood, right? They said, yes. When they put the pedestal in on Lyford Road, that churned a lot of the neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just for what it's worth, Soul Smart says, it is not a best practice to suggest the placement of solar panels should be done to reduce their visibility. In fact, it could severely limit where they are installed. So, they're saying that, by having these screening requirements or whatever, you're limiting that it may not be in the most optimal site.
Well, I think there's, to be perfectly honest, I think we were all upset with that installation, I think, as a board. Now, whether that's right or wrong, some people could say, it's my property, right? I can put up anything I want, wherever I want. I should be able to, right? Within whatever the confines of the, if it's 50 feet or...
Some people say that.
Some people...
It didn't meet the setback, though. That was
No, I
part of the issue there. So.
Yeah. So, is it too... We looked at the options we had to kind of use, that was the backbone of what we did, right? So there's no harm in revisiting it now that we have a better understanding of it.
However, I think the process worked here.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be out back, you can't see it from the street, you go to the ZBA, and it's in the front yard. So they got what they wanted, and the process worked. Now, if the neighbors all would have raised
Right.
the issue about it, then maybe we had a tougher decision, or the ZBA would have had a tougher decision.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it's an interesting subject. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, so let's have that on the agenda next time again, and
Yeah.
try to read through the recommendations from Soul Smart. Anything else on that? Gravel pit inspection reports. You have an inspection tomorrow.
We do. If it doesn't get
So
rained
did
out.
he confirm?
Yes,
It is going to rain tomorrow.
we're all set for tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Ringo.
For now.
So now, Gus, I guess, was supposed to do the other one. So he's not gonna do that, so should we do the other one also?
If you guys,
I mean-
you're on a roll, you might as well.
I can't though. I'm in
You
a butter.
can't.
I'm in a butter on the other pit.
So do you have to have two people do this?
I mean, it's just, the more people that know a little bit about it, the better, I would say. But you want to do it with him, Steve?
I'll be in California on Wednesday.
God bless you.
The land of
hundreds
It's not gonna rain that long.
Yeah, and then I'll be gone for a week. I'll be back the
Yeah,
following
so
Thursday.
maybe after that?
I don't, I can just go do it
You want to just do it?
and just get it over with.
Okay,
So we don't have
that's
to
fine.
talk about it anymore.
Sounds good. I'm all for that. You're on the just
Sure.
don't have the patience for it. That one's pretty simple anyway.
I've done that one before, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
have pictures and I can see what changed.
And we have the reports, right?
Yeah, I gave him a copy, I have copies. You need a copy. Here you go.
We still need to deal with the grandfathering and all that stuff. So we're just using the old reports for now. Is for Marshall or for me?
Is that for Marshall?
That was for you.
That was
Well,
for
he's
me.
not going anywhere.
Yeah, give him this.
That's you.
Thank you.
Right. I'm trying to write things.
Okay. As long as you don't.
So I
As
don't
long as
know
somebody
where,
gets it.
where is the Moose Mountain, whatever it is?
It's the next driveway up from the rec center.
Half a mile, at least a half a mile.
Okay, so I keep going up the hill?
Yeah.
Past
It's
the
about
rec
it's
center.
about halfway up that hill.
Well, you're gonna
Is it
pick
too-
me up, I can show you where
Oh,
it
you're
is,
gonna come?
right?
Okay, I
Yes.
thought you were ditching me too.
No,
Not for
I'm
that
just, I'm ditching you on the one I abut, I'm not ditching you on the Moose.
That's cool. We can do it in the rain, there's no RSA against the rain, is there?
You said driveway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side up there.
There's the driveway.
Mhm.
There's a greenhouse.
Is it
Driveway.
past, is it past Chris's house?
No, it's before Chris's. There's a house with a driveway, and then just beyond that driveway, there's a road with a chain across it. That's the road that takes you back to the pit.
Can we undo the chain?
I should be open if he's
Yeah,
expected.
Dana's gonna be there.
Beautiful. And then we can ask him about his reclamation plan with a straight face.
Okay.
Well, I should I not? Even though he's grandfather.
It would be good to know where
It's nice to know
where it
what.
stands or where he thinks it
And
stands.
do we charge for this stuff? I mean, do we know what they're doing every year? Do we have a process about all of that, or no, or,
They file an intent to excavate with the state.
okay?
Then they tell us after the year's over how much they've excavated.
They just verbally tell you?
Give us a form. Fill the form out.
Okay, so then we know, right?
And we know what they've reported.
Right. So could I get a copy tomorrow or something of the latest report, so at least I have some
Of last year's
context
report.
of,
They should be filed in Chris's file cabinet on the top drawer, there's a report of cuts. It is a different color, report of excavation.
Okay.
And they pay some kind of excavation tax or something to the
Yeah,
state,
3 cents a ton or 3 cents
To-
the town,
to us.
3 cents a unit, 3 cents a ton, 3/10 a unit of something is minimal, minimal.
And that's set by the state? Or by?
Yes, unless you have a train pulling stuff out, then it might be significant.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for doing that. Master plan update. So Gus had 2 sections, housing and community facilities. I will take a look at those and just see if there's anything there.
yeah.
Rich, you took a look and you kind of felt like there's not a lot that can be changed?
It's okay.
Well, I could force it.
You don't have to sell me.
I could force it, but what I realized is some of the maps are outdated, really outdated.
Great, so make a list.
Do we get SRPC to get better
Yes,
maps?
of course.
The maps need work.
Yes, all of them do, I
Yes.
assume.
Yes.
So could you be the map guy?
Sure, I can.
And I know Frank definitely wants a bunch of maps.
There is one there that shows the aquifers.
I
And I
know.
suspect that's accurate, but there's another one that shows our zoning sections. The overlay for workforce housing isn't shown, we should show that.
So make a list of all the good stuff you would like.
Sure.
That would be awesome. Speaking of that, there's something that he was speaking at.
And they're still looking to find out who owns that 125 acres
We think we know.
over by Middleton.
We think we know.
Well, yeah, you're thinking what, Durham?
No. It's, who's the big conservation organization?
Green Mountain.
Moose Mountain Greenways?
No, there's a bigger one, New Hampshire
Land
Forest.
Trust?
Preservation
HLC?
Alliance, the
They own a major
Forest
parcel
Preservation
with
Society.
deed in Middleton. And the deed cascades over into Brookfield. And it's all tax exempt. But we need a property card, but that's a different matter.
Yeah.
No money, but good find, good find.
So is there anything you want to clean up in that section?
Keep digging.
I mean, just either grammatically or
Just
anything,
touch,
or,
I can just touch it, but it's not significant rewrites.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
You wanna touch it
When I
up?
read it, I said, well,
Cool.
enforce this.
So I think what we should do, if anybody disagrees, let me know. I think we should each write or look at our respective categories,
Right.
show everybody what the changes are, have a public meeting, here are the changes, and whether we just read them out loud or we have something where it's yellow highlights that have changed or what have you, we can figure that out.
Yeah.
But we do need to have some public input.
Yeah.
So we just post it, and here's suggested changes, and public hearing is, whenever it is, August 15th, and,
And each one of us do the section where.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works fine.
okay.
I have some questions about various things in it. Do we have a CIP?
No,
No,
Okay, then it shouldn't be mentioned that we have one.
that's right, that's a trivial one, but that's an example of just, we have to strike that line.
Do we have an impact fee ordinance? And what is that if we have one?
But I thought it suggested we should consider doing that, as opposed to require if we do it.
The
What
way that
is
I
it?
wrote it, I'm just
I don't
wondering if
know
we
what
have
an
one.
impact fee
If
is.
a developer comes in and is gonna put a big development in, it's gonna impact our infrastructure, our sewer system, or our
Water,
electric, or
electric,
whatever, then you can have an
utilities.
impact fee.
I see.
It's,
I got you.
it's tough to have an impact fee when you're pretty well self-contained.
Right. Got it.
Do we have a local water resource management and protection plan? Because that's required by RSA 4C22. I noted where that's mentioned, but I didn't write enough detail.
do we have that? We don't.
I don't know about one.
Well, that's something that we can, if Frank wants, I mean, if it's something that fits in his daily way.
You'd have to read more of that RSA to see who's responsible.
Right.
But you could probably get some language from SRPC, at least some generic language.
Is it a reservoir, or is it an aquifer, or is it a what?
I think it was just general to protect our local waters,
I kind of think it's
local
one
water
of those
resource management.
integrated strategy.
Well, and
Sounds to me like. So we can at least determine whether we would have to do that or not.
Yes.
That's,
also,
We're not gonna solve that
No.
at the moment.
where is it? The
That would
first,
be one of those action items that, in the attachment of the.
That's what I'm talking about.
Put it on, make it a matrix. That's it. Now we understand the matrix.
See?
okay, so that's under natural resources. Also, in that section, is section E under natural resources, it's missing number 2. It goes number 1 and then number 3. So it needs a number 2.
Make sure you send that note to Frank. Right?
Yeah.
And thank you for sending that. So the whole idea is that's all in Word, correct?
Mhm.
As a document. So you can just copy and paste and then you can,
Mhm.
right? Yeah?
I don't have the copy, I don't have a Word copy, I was looking at it.
No, what I'm saying,
It
it
is.
is in the,
It is.
it's in your, if you go to the email of the town, you go to planning board and you go to master plan.
PDF.
Is it a
you can
PDF?
convert that to
You
a Word
can-
document.
Yeah.
You can copy and paste it to Word, though.
You can copy
Yeah, the
and
format
paste.
gets messed.
Just
There's a way to
your
do it,
section,
that the
like 2
format
pages.
is still
You just go.
You say. I say no.
That's how I emailed pieces
Hell, we had
to.
just sent it to you.
I was looking at it, I didn't know I could do that. I'll learn how to do it.
So I think the best thing to do is probably,
Right?
Leah, unfortunately, it's probably you, collecting all these, different sections that people have made edits on, and just noting what the changes are so that we can have this public meeting.
I've got a thought on that. Let's go ahead, make our suggestions. We can leave it with her. And this is June, we'll talk about it in July, and we'll bring it to the public in September.
Yeah.
Because that way we can discuss it amongst ourselves. Seems like August is taken up with the reps. Full rep.
It's gonna be hot and miserable too, so.
Air conditioning.
That's
So
So
you're
I-
here.
I did the,
On here.
I did the vision and, what was the other thing? The executive summary, I guess.
Wait, I have more questions.
Oh, sorry.
Has the planning board ever actually reviewed our annual population data to stay on top of growth? Because it says that we should do that in the population and growth.
Well, we have right here are from our SRPC, my homework, the profile snapshot from 2024.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we have all kinds of cool charts and data, so we can
We have
pass it
800,
around.
800 odd people, and
Let's see the number.
We got some good ones in there. They're not all odd.
Do we have a list of seasonal properties?
So where are you finding these, Leah? Did you go in your section?
This
No,
was-
she just read the master plan and wrote a bunch of questions about
Yes, that's exactly what it did.
But we all have sections to review.
I know,
it. She looked at the whole
I
thing.
familiarized myself with the whole thing. Just to annoy you a
just
little bit.
copies of that, I guess, to everybody, right?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to, until I knew what we were doing. At least I had it.
What else, Leah?
And, you're gonna make a copy and send
Oh,
those out to us?
Of course.
Do we have any wetlands ordinances, or do we just go by the state?
State.
Okay, because under land use, it does mention that we'll adopt a wetlands ordinance.
Other than setbacks.
Okay, so that should be taken out if we're not gonna adopt one, is all.
That's natural resources.
Yeah, no, that's land use, which we all have.
Do we track how many solar
Yeah, some of that.
installations we have in
We
Brookfield?
tax them.
Perfect. So that means we know how many we got.
If they got a permit, there's some that go in without permits.
Really? Why don't you put that on the message board for a week?
After we do, yeah, a week.
Issue of the week.
Any more, Leah?
Cupcakes on
I don't
Tuesday.
think so.
How many would you guess? You have permits?
15-ish, I bet.
Wow.
No, the rest they're just more like formatting questions.
How many EV cars do we
We'll probably have to
have?
reformat the whole thing.
We have some,
Yeah, basically.
We did have some and they moved, or
got cold,
they ran out of energy, or
in the winter, they
Okay.
didn't work so good.
Thank you.
seriously?
So I did the vision and the executive summary. Honestly, the executive summary didn't change a ton, but as far as the vision goes, I looked at a couple other towns. I can't remember exactly who they were. Freedom was one of them, and some of the smaller towns around. And I tried to incorporate that into the spirit of what we had. The one thing that kind of struck me as something we should probably do away with, this is my opinion. So our old vision said, a small historic rural New Hampshire farming community committed to improving the quality of life for present and future generations. So that was our vision. I don't think of Brookfield as a farming community. I know there are farms here, but given the development we've had since this was written 20 years ago, it seems to me to be more of a residential and less of a farming. So, for example, I kept the spirit of that. That now says, Brookfield seeks to preserve and maintain the rural and scenic character of our town by managing development and balancing density, while sustaining our natural resources and providing a small town, community-oriented lifestyle in order to improve the quality of life for present and future generations. So it kind of says the same thing, it just doesn't have the word farming in it. And it's got a little bit more talking about managing development and balancing diversity.
We can throw in farming.
Well, we can, sure.
I mean, just as a,
We do have an
it
agriculture.
seems quite elegant.
distant district, so we could add something about an agricultural, including an agricultural district for farming.
How much does agriculture represent as a percent of the land use in Brookfield?
Count them on one hand.
But in terms of the acreage of the town and the percentage of agricultural development?
No, not much.
No.
What do we have? Gus?
5%?
We have Gus, we got Cottontarrow. We're horse farms, that's what we have, horse farms.
Eddie Nason.
Eddie Nason.
But there's not many, like you
No.
said, it's kind of like this.
So you think it's less than 10%?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
What's the big area is all the state-owned property and all the conservation property now. We have hundreds of acres of state-owned property that's open for recreation that we didn't talk about. I mean, all this stuff up here is open to the public for recreation. Hundreds of acres now, with the state purchase of 600 acres and all the Moose Mountain stuff, all that open to a lot of recreation. And people complain about that because we don't tax that. That's not taxed, that's all free. And then we have the town property.
Yep. So anyway, we can debate the language when we, have the public hearing.
Sure.
That's just the type of thing that I think we all.
And so we have that in our packet stuff?
No.
Oh, okay. No, yep.
So I think we'll hopefully have that next meeting.
What you do have in your packets is something Mary Lou sent me today. She said she wrote it for the last master plan update, the town of Brookfield historical.
That's probably,
Yes.
I'm guessing that's the appendix, right? I mean, I don't think that's anything new.
No, this isn't new.
So we,
This used to be front and center or it is in the current master plan. I think historic, right here, because this, the master plan in a lot of these towns is 6 pages. This is 10.
10,
By itself.
right. Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yes.
I appreciate having this in there,
Yeah.
and it's very thorough. I just don't think it needs to be front and center.
Yep.
She did say she can cut it down if we needed to. She just didn't know how much detail we're gonna go for, and so sent this along as a start.
All right, so if everybody could work on their sections for next time, and I guess the best way should we circulate it ahead of time, do you think?
Yes.
So send your changes to Leah about, I don't know, a few days before the meeting?
A week before.
Do you have a Word document of this? Is there a Word document?
I have several Word documents of this in various edited forms. I'm not sure which one hasn't been touched. I know the PDF one is the one that's on the website that I can copy and paste out, but it'll screw up all the formatting.
I don't think it's
a
been
little bit.
touched. I took what was there and, changed, made it my own. So this is just on my computer.
Okay.
So why don't we send you the changes, and you work with that last dated one, I think is the one that looked the
Okay.
most appropriate to me.
So can you send Rich his section in a Word document?
I'll handle it, thank you.
I'm worried
And if I
about-
can't, I know her number.
worried. I want to take
I'm
care
not
of
gonna
it.
answer.
It's okay, I don't know how to do it. I admit. Mary, can you download it?
Jan's my IT first.
Do you need me to send you your sections?
No,
Okay.
no.
He's an HP
I've been
guy.
cheating and looking at Tufton Burrows, what they have been saying.
See,
And-
wheel those around.
No, you look around, hey, they've got, 27 pages? And I can glean and see what's there, look at the verbiage, and bring it back around.
Exactly.
One thing we may want to look at, I don't know who has the application, but take what you're thinking that you've put together and ask AI to rephrase it.
Oh, yeah, right, and that was the point last time, about using AI
Yeah.
to do a lot of ground.
I kind of wish I had that when I was employed with HB. I was always a lot wordier than my boss wanted.
That's great.
Yeah,
I have that trouble too.
They actually have our population declining past 2040.
Yeah.
People will be dying off.
Yes, we will.
question.
Mark, you still there?
Put me down, I'm done by 2040.
What's up, Mark?
So there were two sections that I had my name by with other people. One was natural resources, and I think, Leah, you were mentioning some sections there. Did you say you were going to send that to Frank Frazier?
Yes, I already did, but I didn't send
Get
it
his
to,
input.
I already sent it to Frank, I didn't send it to you, I can send it to you, yes.
You
Yeah,
wanna send it to
Frank-
and ask for his comment?
Oh, Frank will do the heavy workload on that one.
Oh, he is, okay.
He will, because I had a lunch with him probably 2 months ago. He was all fired up and wanted to, he goes, oh, let me rewrite this whole thing. Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that you don't partner with him. I'm just saying he's into it, he knows it, he has the history of it, so that's a great help for starters.
Okay, excellent. And then the other one I had, I think, was transportation infrastructure with Rich, and I think checking with the road agent, Chris Kinville.
Yep.
And Leah mailed that out today, and when you read that, it's pretty well done, except for just one or two tweaks to it. And that's what I was talking about earlier, I mean, it's like.
Did he get that report?
That was Leah's point, a couple of those reports should be put in there as basis.
Did he get it?
Not yet, that's up last Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Because we paid the dues again, by the way, and we were waiting for the deliverables, and that's one of them, we're still waiting for deliverables after a year. So we said, we'll go another year on the dues. But yes, I think with the transportation, what I read was 95% there.
So does it have a maintenance, or it doesn't appropriately go into?
It says we're going to maintain the roads appropriately, being sensitive to the tax base that we have to support that type of work.
Okay. So when,
And then, did we have a questionnaire a couple of years ago? Did you send that around, Leah, at some point? The town questionnaire about what people in the town.
On the website, it's on the planning board website, I think, down on one of the tabs on the left side.
That was 2018, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's a while ago.
no, that's true. That is on the website for sure.
Yeah.
You're talking two different things. The one the SRPC has out about the vision of the town, and I believe he's.
Oh, is that what he's?
Is that what he wants?
Well, ask him.
Mark, what are you talking about, the questionnaire from like 7 years ago?
Yes, it was mentioned, I think, at the last meeting or two. Just getting to the public input, and obviously that was done after the last, that occurred after the last update of the master plan. So I wondered if we were looking at that to help in any way with our updates.
How many people did you get to fill that out?
It was quite a lot.
It was
a lot
over
more
a
than
couple of hundred, I think.
It was a lot. I thought it was more than that.
Even more
I
than
thought it
that.
was like 130.
But I
It
didn't
was
read
a good.
it.
It was a good try
Yeah.
to get people to fill it out. So I don't think you should ignore that amount.
No, I think what we could do is in the vision section of it, you can see if it you can reference the fact that based on a survey of 2018, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
We can weave it in.
It's the
I
2018.
mean, I was looking around at a couple towns. One I looked at was Sandwich, and it looks like they're in the process of updating. I think it was Sandwich, which I realize is quite a bit different in a lot of ways from Brookfield. But what they did was they had results from a prior survey, and they sent something new out, saying, here's what the citizens and residents said 10 years ago. Are these consistent with you as a current resident would like to see if there was any change. I'm not saying we need to do that, but I just bring it up as an example of how, at least in one case, the town went to get updated input from the residents.
I think something like this should go out with our tax bill. Everyone reads the tax bill, and put a little blurb in there that go to the web and please fill out this particular survey so that we can do an update.
When does the tax bill go?
December.
Yeah,
Oh, it's not in June?
That's,
it just went out.
That went out in
that's
May.
probably too late for that.
Yeah, you
That
haven't
went
paid,
out already.
you haven't paid yours yet?
I don't pay any of the bills, I just,
He's not the
Created
IT
the
person
money.
or the bookkeeper. He's not IT or bookkeeper.
yeah, I mean, I do have to delegate, I'm a busy guy.
All right, so do people think we should do a survey? I don't think we have time to do it with the tax bills, because we want to get this master plan done by the end of the year.
Okay, well, that's when it goes out, and we'd have the information ready for our March meeting.
Wait, so you want to do this survey separate from the master plan then? Or do you want to kind of include the results? Because if
We'll
we include the
we'll
results, then
include
it
the
would push
results.
the deadline back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we wouldn't get this done until March probably,
Right.
Yeah,
if we have a
so we
survey.
can give them the results, for 2026.
So, I always ask the same question, I know. It's
We're 10 years
how many
old.
email addresses do we have? Do we have everybody's email address?
No,
Do we have most of them?
no.
No,
How much is it gonna cost to send a letter these days?
57 cents for it is 60 cents.
Couple $300 for the town.
So is it worth going to old school and, having a sign on the thing that says, hey, we're sending out a survey to you, so alert people, and maybe even, I don't know.
I think the survey is a good idea. I think we could do both. We put the master plan, keep going,
Yeah,
and have a section on there where we have survey results.
yeah.
And when we get the survey results, which we can do in December or January, whenever we get it, we put that as a new addition to it. And the next time the master plan is done, we take a look at it.
Yeah.
I think if we put something in front of the master plan, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna get it done.
We're not, that's what I'm worried about. And we could just deal with it at a public hearing, which you're going to get the same 20 people, 30 people, whatever.
It was pulling teeth for the last questionnaire. Took months, remember, to get that. So that's not a quick process, but it's good input.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, it's the seminars that two different, I forget which ones they were, but twice the process came up in different seminars I attended, training. They both said, it's like a 1 to 2 year process. So I guess it just depends on how comprehensive we want to try to be or not be. Maybe if we do we do the work we're doing now and we do some sort of survey and we get, nothing, no big changes in the results, we can get it done. But if there's some big disconnect between what we're hearing and what the plan says, maybe we, revisit and slow it down.
Yeah. I'm just worried that we're close to 10 years overdue on the master plan as it is.
Yeah.
And, kind of like to get it over the goal line here by the end of the year. But to your point, if we do the survey in December and if there's some inconsistency, you can always update the master plan again.
In many towns, intersection, right?
Yeah, if there's, something about natural resources that the community pushes back on, you can change the natural resource section.
Well, the other thing is that, it's a form of communication to the public about as good as we can do, which we should try to do, right? Regardless of when we do it, because I think that'd be pretty cool. And we'll see what the response rate is, If it's direct mail and nobody knows you, it's 2 to 3%. If it's something like this, it might be 10 or 15%, maybe.
And we could do it by snail mail.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
$200, and
That's what I was alluding to.
probably want to include self-stamped addressed envelopes or something, because people aren't going to come drop it off here.
True.
So it's $600, but
Yeah. In the scheme of life, seems, at least we're not operating in a vacuum. So, we don't have to decide, but.
I kind of like the idea of pushing forward with
Oh,
the
absolutely.
master plan and
Push
then
it
maybe do
forward.
the tax bill thing and finalize it, first thing next year. And anybody else okay with that?
fine with it.
So do we want to print out the survey that was done to get the list of questions and figure out to
Yeah.
add or change or whatever?
Yeah.
Might be cool to see how they would answer the same questions, right?
Yeah.
If we want to add some,
It's the
fine,
same
but,
thing.
you know, then you show the chart, here's what, 15 years later, 20 years later, here's the, well, here's what, well, it's not even 10 years later, is it?
When people pay their tax bills, do they normally drop them off here?
Most of them are mailed, snail mail.
No, but most people that when they pay them, they will mail back to us. Okay.
So they're used to that.
It won't go with the tax bill, there's requirements on that.
Yeah.
What you could put with
Oh,
the
I-
tax bill.
Oh, and you can't put a survey in? That's cheating, right?
Okay, so we can't do that.
But if we have the addresses, we can put another mailer out.
So then we don't have to wait till December?
No, you can do it now.
Okay.
All right,
Print
so
the
let's
address.
get moving on that then, and we'll look at the questions next meeting.
But let's definitely put that on the sandwich board for a week or something, or however you want. Just to, you know, so they don't just,
That's
We're
good.
running out of sandwich boards, man.
when are we gonna get an electric sign? We can change the message every day from your house.
How's that dark sky ordinance coming?
How about that digital? Yeah.
And when you pass by, it'll say, slow down.
And I would appreciate the help and the reminder. I live for that sandwich board. I swear.
I did go to the police and ask them for the,
It's something sitting out there.
yeah, but where they put it is a stupid spot. Because 200 feet later, you have to slow down to about 25 to make the turn.
Yeah.
I wanted it in front of my yard, going the other way.
Well, not to mention, it's in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, and they had it set for 35 miles an hour. So the lights would flash when you were going under the speed limit.
A mile away.
That was your
I don't
duty,
know, I
wasn't
haven't
it?
noticed I've been going too fast.
Push it goes too fast for the lights to flash.
It's
Especially
those
What was that
gumballs.
blur?
I'm out of here.
little ones.
All right, master plan, we all set? Good?
Yes.
Um,
Steve, did you want to take a quick glance at that?
OPD practice test,
Oh,
anybody do it?
yeah. I did it,
I haven't
Did anyone do
retaken
it?
it.
and I didn't cheat, and I didn't go look up every question to
Oh
get the
my gosh,
answer.
I did it, but I looked up everything.
I think it's okay.
Did you really?
That's
Nothing
pretty
wrong
good.
with looking things up, is
You
there?
No.
cheater.
To me, that seems like cheating.
That is cheating.
No, I
No,
think
it's
my,
not cheating, it's learning.
Yeah,
I agree with him.
I think
If you
it's
go
okay.
along and you read it, and you've already gone through all of the information, and then, okay, what is stuck? And you go back in for the exam, and it says something, and it's like, okay, I remember what page it's on, but what it said, and then you can go back in and look, and it's, you're doing it twice, so it's cementing it into your knowledge.
somewhat.
Yeah, no, so you're getting a lot closer.
So they seem
You're
to
becoming
me
more
like a
familiar.
lot of obscure questions,
Or a couple of relevant ones, but yeah.
you know, and so it's like, wow.
Well,
I
the
mean-
practice one is
I mean, I did it.
is okay. When you go into the
Real
other one, it's a little more pertinent.
Oh,
But, no, go in, take a look at it. Now, I've got them here without the answers. But, no, I've
well,
got the answers.
I haven't, I printed mine out so I can actually go back and do what you guys
Yeah,
did. Did you do it?
but, no, that's my feeling.
The one you
about it.
sent out is the one I did, the 30 questions,
Yeah.
So what'd you get?
26 or something. But I was looking stuff
22
up
or
too.
something.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I didn't, you know, think hard about it, but
I got a
half of those
21
things, what are
before I
they
read
ever?
everything, and I didn't look at anything.
To me, that's
So,
something you
That's
wouldn't
passive.
want to memorize, but anyway.
it's a D minus.
That's okay. You might have spent good
We
job.
should probably make up our own
Well,
quiz
that's why I say practice. Now, go into the
based
other one
on
and take a look.
experience, right?
Yeah, I haven't even looked at that one.
That would be an
Yeah.
interesting quiz.
It's a little harder.
I don't
What about
think
you,
there's a
Rich?
need to memorize this stuff when you can look at it
Yeah.
personally.
But what it is, you're able to look at the verbiage and start to recognize some of the verbiage as to, you know, what we're going to be doing.
Look, all of this is helpful, right? It's
Yep.
just, you just hone it to what works, right? It's a starting point, so that's good.
Okay, so I would just continue to have, suggest people do training and
Get the certification, that way, you know, the town of Brookfield will feel a little more comfortable with us.
I think they love us.
Delusional, aren't you?
We're good people. We're trying hard. Our heart's in the right place.
agenda procedure, what's that, Leah?
Not done, so. During the last meeting, we discussed adding an agenda procedure to the ROP. that
Oh,
would,
yeah.
Yeah, tell people to contact me to get added, or you to get added to the agenda. And
Okay.
it's not done, so nothing to talk about.
So that's part of the rules of procedure update.
Yeah.
I think that's it. This that you passed out. Oh, yeah, Ed, go ahead.
Just to stay on the agenda item for the rules of procedure. I sent out a document, AI-generated document that looked through the ordinances and the rules of procedure and then gave you a comparison to show where you left points and where your lead points weren't. I also sent an AI-generated version of the public-facing document for applications. And I just wanted to make sure that you got it, because it's a pretty good start, or a starting point,
Is it this?
to begin that
Yes.
public-facing document. And that doesn't have to be discussed now, I just wanted to see if you got it.
I read it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, great.
I did, I read it.
It's pretty neat, it's the summary of our work, right?
Right.
It just pulls it out,
Yeah, I remember this.
half of it easier to read, right? All the fluff is gone. Facts.
I thought it was great. I thought somebody did this.
So if somebody wanted to put in a garage or a barn or something, I mean, you could easily follow the document. There's an added application that you can use with that document where it can create a decision tree type of thing. I don't think the public needs a decision tree, but I think it's plain the way it is. But that's a good start to start the discussion of how to make sure the public can easily come in and understand what they have to do so they don't get into trouble later on.
We should get a rendering of that, whatever that is, so that people walk in, I assume, to the town clerk and say, here's my issue, what do I do? She has this nice, oh, so that would be, and this is what we do.
Well, that's what the document does.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just in
And then
writing.
it's just a picture, right? Make it easy.
We have to have pictures.
No, I'm saying is this,
It reflects our documentation today.
right?
So if we don't agree with it, we have to go back to the source document to change it.
Correct.
But it almost belongs on our webpage as how you
Yes.
interface with the regulations.
Because that's the main problem. People, want to do something on their property and they don't know what they have to do. So at least they have somewhere to go to say what applications they have to fill out. That it also states, I believe, that they can come in and do a, what do you call it when people come in?
Conceptual.
Conceptual design review.
Consultation.
Consultation.
So do we want to have this as well as this flow chart?
No offense, Marshall, I don't think we need the flow chart.
I don't. I just want the public to know what to do. That's the mission here.
I think the flow chart says if you have any questions about what you're allowed to do or not allowed to do, you start with the select. And they route it.
Yep.
And if it goes to the planning board, then this takes over. I think that's what I think.
So the rules of procedure somehow has to state that. What you just said, it has to be stated somewhere.
When in doubt, ask the selectmen.
Ask the select board, yes, not just one, but go to the board and ask the board, yes, because we have a, yes.
Because that's what people do, because it's an uncomfortable feeling to have to go in front of a planning board, etc. So what they do is they seek out anyone they know personally and just ask them whatever their question is. And, you know, and we as neighbors and nice people want to help everybody, so we give them our thought, which may or may not be right. And so what we want to do is not have everybody go to, I mean, they can go to us, but we're not going to answer anything. So that way the process will work. And it won't be, well, I was told that this, so, I mean, I don't know.
So what if we had this somewhere on the website? Because this kind of is more basic, like what do these boards do? And then under planning board, see this document, and this would be under planning board.
Okay, why don't we do this later, put that on our agenda, selectmen's agenda, for 2 weeks, so that we concur that,
The flow chart.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think obviously everybody needs to have a look at this again. And we probably need some kind of disclaimer or something up here. This is not a complete list of rules and regulations, it's only a guide, you know, whatever.
Yes,
Yes.
that will be in red.
And back to the rules of procedure, if I may, the document that I sent about that, it also picked out the items that needed correction, that didn't match the ordinances, like the 60-day rather than the 65-day, simple stuff like that. But it was pretty clean, but it went through the whole thing in 5 seconds.
Yeah. Those should be fixed with our redo, right?
Yes, I gotta correct my email address and the thing he gave us, but otherwise I look at him.
Commendable, thank you.
The AI also goes online, so I believe if you prompted to look at the legislation that came up, I think it could actually tell you what changes were made through the legislation.
I'm having trouble doing that. I was gonna talk to you about it later, I can't get it, we've got a file.
What are you using?
Chat.
Don't use ChatGPT. That AI is evil.
Oh, what do I know? Came up with my Google search first. Go for it.
It doesn't tell the truth.
Oh,
None of them do.
Sure it does.
None.
You have to check whatever they do, trust me.
Check the outlets.
oh yeah, yes.
Oh, I asked Karen, because that was on my to-do list, of the various, like, land use questions she gets and how she handles them. She said, other than people asking, like, mostly code enforcement questions, she doesn't get much. She said the only feedback she really gets is that our applications in the ROP are confusing and really hard to find. So, should we pull them out and have them separate, but say in the ROP, you can find these here, and also like list them in the back in the appendices or whatever? Rather than having it say, oh, go to page 32 and fill out numbers 8, 11, 12, 15, 27, like that.
It's a
That's
little
tough.
confusing. Yeah.
That's a lot of back and forth too, flipping the pages and whatnot.
I'd be okay with that.
A good appendix would be good.
Because we're gonna end up removing a few of the pages of the appendix anyway, so it maybe won't go to from A to Z anymore. So we'll have room without going to like A1 and A2.
So we could separate those two. Yeah. Okay, member comments? Anybody have anything else?
Just I have two. We paid the dues again for one more year.
Yep.
And our June 25th is the date in court with Moose Mountain. and I'm trying to find out which courthouse. There's 2 courthouses in Hillsborough County.
I don't know where Hillsborough County is.
Manchester.
Why is it in Hillsborough and not the Superior Court, Carroll County? We don't know. Sorry.
So by the way, I'm planning to go to that, and listen.
Yes, and I'll go, and I think maybe Ed got there or go. And I don't know if anybody else on the planning board's gonna go, but June 25th, we'll find out what time. Usually you have to be there at 9.
Okay, yeah, I'll find
And
it.
then wait. And then wait.
So we just need to post that we have at least 2 members going. There's a quorum of selectmen going. to start.
We'll find out from Ed, but I believe Ed got.
Yeah. But if there's a quorum of planning board, we have to post.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? 7:15. Next meeting, July 14th. And let's close out this meeting. Where should I?
So,
We should keep this.
when I use chat, whatever it is,
Yeah.
it says, give me a file that you want me to analyze. And I download the file. And then I give it the URL or the file name and say, summarize. And it only goes halfway through it. It stops. No, you can't.
I don't know why it does that, mine doesn't.
Okay. Which
So
one
you do it the same way?
Grok 3 is the best one in the world.
Which one?
What is it?
Grok 3, it's the
Elon.
Elon Musk's,
Oh, here it
the
is.
hated Elon Musk. The best
Rock,
product going.
GRO?
Yeah, Grok 3. Do you have X? Do you have X?
No.
Well, then you're not going to be able to get it.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
But
me.
yeah, you upload, with me, I just upload the file and I tell it, summarize it. I give the AI this transcription, it summarizes in 5 seconds.
Round 3, maybe.
Like I have it waiting at home, because it has your agenda, it has who's here already, and I upload this audio to it, and it figures out everything.
I got an email, I was pretty bang, bang, bang of emails, no fluff. It was so harsh. So I cut it out and I gave it to AI. I said, make this softer for me. It was beautiful, but it wasn't me. It was beautiful. It was, I wasn't wordy enough, and it just put words in there.
Whoever you sent it to said, you didn't write this, right?
That's all that's for sure. That's for sure. It's beautiful. I was shocked.
That's enough, folks.
Well,
Cheers.
yeah.
Night.
See you soon, Mark.
Yeah.
Thanks.